When I was washing my wife's clothes, I accidentally found a train ticket to the south in the pocket of her jacket. That was when I realized my wife had secretly signed up for a 15-year teaching program in a remote area, and her crush was also volunteering there. Half a month before departure, my wife had an abortion. Getting rid of our child, she contacted her friends, family, and former colleagues, holding countless farewell banquets, but she never told me that she was leaving. 3 days before her departure, I quietly bought a train ticket from the same platform as hers, but heading in the opposite direction. On the day of departure, I boarded the train under her shocked gaze. Along with me, I handed her both the divorce papers and the evidence of her lover's molestation of a student. Chapter 1. When Angelica came out of the hospital, I knew immediately that our child was gone. I pretended not to know, watching her take the pills for expelling blood right in front of me. I casually asked, "What's wrong with you?" She froze for a moment, then carelessly said, "Just a little cold." I didn't expose her lie. I only reminded her, "You're pregnant. Some medicine isn't safe to take." Sensing my calm tone and indifferent expression, Angelica realized something was off. After all, in the past, whenever she said she wasn't feeling well, I would panic, rush her to the hospital, and blame myself for not taking better care of her. But now, I was far too calm. She came over and hugged me, resting her head against my chest, her voice soft and coy. "Honey, why aren't you happy?" I pushed her away. "It's nothing. I'll take a shower first." She must have thought she had hidden everything well, since she didn't question me. Instead, she pulled out some boxed leftovers from the fridge. "Honey, I bought you your favorite crab and barbecue. I'll heat it up. Once you finish your shower, you can eat." Watching her busily put the dishes in the microwave, her face full of expectation for my praise, I gave a bitter, silent laugh. Did she really think I didn't know anything? Buying a train ticket behind my back, planning a 15-year teaching program, aborting our child, inviting friends, family, and former colleagues, holding countless farewell banquets. These dishes too must have been leftovers from those gatherings, and everything she did was for another man. After my shower, I glanced at the microwave, not even plugged in. I told Angelica that I had to work late tonight and she should go to bed first. Then I went into the guest room, sleepless all night. Early the next morning, Angelica banged on the door loudly. She asked me why I hadn't eaten the dishes from last night. "Logan, are you just going to waste my effort like that?" After a sleepless night, my nerves were already tense and fragile. Her sharp questioning voice only made my head ache even more. Naturally, I lost my patience and told her, "You didn't even plug in the microwave last night. What exactly did you expect me to eat?" At my words, Angelica pursed her lips in embarrassment. She turned toward the kitchen. "I made breakfast for you. Come eat." It was always like this. Every time she did something wrong, she would suddenly act extra nice to me, giving me a couple of days of good treatment. After washing up, I sat at the table and saw the rice balls and tamagoyki Angelica had placed in front of me. These were the same things she often made for me when we had just started dating. I didn't expect that to make up for her departure. She would bring out these dishes again. I said, "Pack the tamagoyki. I'll take it to school." Hearing that, Angelica's face changed. She quickly hid the tamagoyki behind her. "Why are you being so self-important? This isn't for you." As she spoke, she took out the leftovers from last night from the microwave and threw them in front of me. "You eat this." I froze, staring at the sticky, sour-smelling food before me, then looked up at Angelica in disbelief. "Why are you looking at me like that? I went out of my way to buy it for you. Are you thinking of throwing it away? You must finish it. Don't waste my effort." After saying this, she packed up the rice balls and tamagoyki. Before heading out, she told me, "My class ends late today, so you don't have to wait for me. I'll bring back the food you love." The door slammed shut. I looked at the empty house, casually dumped the food into the trash, and pulled out my phone to book a train ticket for the same day she was leaving. Since she wanted to go, I would grant her wish. Chapter 2. The reason I ended up with Angelica was because she pursued me first. Back then, I had just started teaching at the school. Right away, I was assigned to lead the senior sprint class, replacing their original homeroom teacher. The students resented me, and the other teachers also had complaints. They spread rumors that I was a relative of the school leadership, only here to polish my resume with their college entrance results. I was isolated, unaccepted, spending every day alone, and that was when Angelica appeared before me. She ignored the rumors about me, overlooked the strange looks from the other teachers, and chose to walk beside me. She told me she knew the real reason the previous teacher had been replaced was due to his poor conduct, and it had nothing to do with me. She told me that as long as she was around, I would never be lonely. Over time, we grew to know and love each other. I prepared lesson plans for her every day, brought her delicious food, and she would deliberately pass by my classroom during lectures, just to sneak a glance at me. We had a tacit understanding, carrying on our relationship until we married. At our wedding, I promised to love her, protect her, and never leave her for a lifetime. 8 years passed in a blink. I never broke my promise, yet the first one who wanted to leave was her. I looked at the message confirming my ticket purchase. It was for a train heading in the exact opposite direction from hers. If that was how it would be, then let us become two lines that will never cross again in this life. Chapter 3. That evening, Angelica sent me a message. She said she went out singing with friends. I could already guess it was yet another farewell gathering she had arranged. I replied with a simple okay, no concern, no questions, and certainly no offer to pick her up. Lately, she had been going out every few days, not returning until 11 or 12 at night. Whenever I urged her, she would get angry instead. Can't you give me some private space? I told you I was out with friends. Why do you keep calling and bothering me? If you're so restless, go wash clothes or mop the floor. There's so much to do at home, yet you're waiting for me to do it. When she was in love, she would cling to me, her small frame curled up in my arms, speaking playfully, I just love sticking to you. Being with friends will never make me as happy as being with you. I don't care, I'll stick to you for life, and you're not allowed to be annoyed by me. When she fell out of love, even one word of concern from me became, in her eyes, shackles on her freedom. So why should I make myself miserable? And yet, when I saw the clock strike 2:30 in the morning, I still couldn't set my mind at ease. I called to ask when she was coming home. The call connected, but the noise of chatter and music drowned out her voice. I didn't hear clearly, so I asked again where she was. Then there was a loud bang on the other end. I heard Angelica's best friend ask her, Angelica, you really are the pure love champion. Huh? How many years have you been separated from Jeremy? Just one word from him, and you're willing to throw everything away and go volunteer with him for 15 years. But hiding it from your husband, aren't you afraid he'll divorce you? Angelica must have been drunk, her words slurred, but I still understood what she meant. Divorce. The moment I made this decision, I had no intention of staying with him. If it weren't for the fact that he can't live without me, I wouldn't even need to keep up this act before I leave. The girls around her chuckled. True enough. After all, back then, you were the light of his life. I bet not only will he not be mad, he might even beg you not to divorce him. Yeah, with how devoted he is to you. If he finds out you'll be gone for 15 years, he might even be willing to wait for you the whole time. I laughed, but as I laughed, tears began to fall. The light of my life. Did she think she was some kind of superhero? Yes, back then, I truly was grateful she appeared before me. But just because of a premeditated act of kindness years ago, should I throw away my dignity, abandon my self-respect, and willingly become her dog? That, I could never do. Chapter 4. I came across Jeremy's photo by accident. She had hidden it for so many years. Perhaps now, with her crush about to appear again, she wanted to bring the photo as a way to pour out all the feelings she had held onto for so long. In the photo, I saw a young man in a white shirt, hands in his pockets, head tilted upward, with a mole just below his neck, in the exact same spot as the mole on my own neck. That was when I finally understood why she always liked to stare at me in a daze, why she always kissed the mole on my neck when we were intimate, why she liked me to wear white clothes. So many questions that, in an instant, all had their answers. She wasn't looking at me, she was seeing someone else through me. So when she walked toward me back then, turning her back on everyone else, was it truly because she cared for me, or was it for some other reason? I could never know, but after all, I had accompanied her for 8 years. For 8 years, I fulfilled my duties as a husband. I believed I owed her nothing more. I hung up the phone, since she was already determined to leave me. I no longer wished to debase myself. That night, Angelica never came home. The next morning, the living room was full of chatter. I vaguely heard the voices of Angelica's parents and younger sister. Angelica, we heard conditions in the countryside are very poor. Mom's heart aches for you. Here, take all of these with you. If you're short on anything, remember to tell Mom. Oh, Mom, come on. Sister is going to volunteer. It's a good thing. Why are you crying? Her father added, Angelica, about this teaching program. Are you really not going to tell Logan? What if he doesn't agree? Angelica stayed silent. Only after a long while did she answer, I'll leave without saying goodbye. Whatever happens after, he can decide for himself. At her words, they sighed. In the end, they chose to respect Angelica's decision. Even though it's unfair to Logan, you are our daughter. We support your choice. As long as you feel happy, that's what matters. Her younger sister chimed in. Sister, whatever you decide, we'll support you because we're family. Family. So even after 8 years of marriage to Angelica, I still wasn't qualified to be counted as part of their family. In the past, I thought their subtle distance from me meant I hadn't done well enough, but in truth, they were deliberately keeping me at arm's length, afraid I would take Jeremy's place. They all knew Angelica loved Jeremy, and I was nothing but the forced choice, the substitute left with no other option. At this moment, I finally understood Leaving me wasn't a moment's impulse from Angelica. It was a decision she had thought through carefully. Chapter 5. I opened the door. All their voices instantly fell silent. They stared at me in shock as I walked out of the guest room. Angelica's pupils shrank sharply. After a long moment, she trembled as she asked, "You didn't go to work today?" I replied flatly, "The class schedule changed. I don't have lessons today." I had already told her about the schedule change before, but she was so absorbed in her excitement about meeting Jeremy that she had forgotten completely. "When did you wake up? Did you hear what we were saying?" I stepped toward the bathroom, a faint smile on my lips. "What were you saying?" Seeing no sign of suspicion in my expression, Angelica relaxed. "Nothing much. My parents just came to see me. They'll leave soon. Won't you stay for a meal together?" They waved their hands. No, we'll just drop off the things and go. We don't want to disturb your time together." They left in a hurry. Angelica called to me, "Since you're not working, help me sort through these things. My head hurts. I'm going to lie down." With that, she went to bed, while I looked down at the clutter spread across the floor. Thick gloves, padded clothes, bed sheets and covers, toothbrushes, towels, and a medicine kit. I let out a cold laugh. Then I left the house. There were still 3 days before departure. Today, the school leadership approved my transfer application. I needed to go back to the school to handle some matters. In the office, a male teacher who was close to me expressed regret. "You're transferring so far away all of a sudden. Does Angelica know?" "She'll know," I said, "on the day I leave." Chapter 6. When I came home after handling things, Angelica was still asleep. The things on the floor remained untouched. Her phone, left on the coffee table, had been ringing non-stop. I picked it up and, almost instinctively, tried to unlock it with my fingerprint, but it failed. The password was also wrong. I gave a bitter smile. Of course, she was already preparing to leave me. Deleting my fingerprint, changing the password, how could that be surprising? Maybe because Angelica hadn't replied. The caller tried again. I answered. On the other end, a low male voice spoke. "Angelica, the day after tomorrow I'll come pick you up. You can stay with me then, and I'll be able to protect you better. Oh, and Angelica, could you bring a few sets of special clothes? You know how it is. I've been here nearly 10 years. The country women don't know how to dress. They're plain and ugly. It disgusts me just looking at them. I sent you the clothing pictures. You must remember to bring them." Since I stayed silent, Jeremy finally asked, "Angelica, why aren't you saying anything? Is that man beside you?" I curved my lips into a slow smile and answered, "She's asleep." Now it was his turn to fall silent. He had made me feel miserable, so I figured it was only fair to give him a heart attack of his own. As I expected, the call was cut off. By the time I finished packing my luggage and set it in the guest room, Angelica finally woke up. She saw the mess across the floor, and her anger flared instantly. "Logan, I told you to tidy up the living room. Why didn't you do it? You said marrying you meant I'd live a good life, and now I only ask you to help me pack a few things, and you're not even willing." I looked at her. From the moment she decided to leave, she had changed. She had become impatient, irritable. Even my mere presence seemed enough to make her angry. I didn't argue with her. I simply told her. Your phone kept ringing. Her pupils shrank sharply. She rushed over in her slippers, snatching up the phone. When she saw the unread messages, she lifted her head, suspicion and guilt flickering in her eyes. "You didn't look at the messages, did you? You changed the password. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't." At my words, Angelica stammered out, I just. But after half a day, she still couldn't come up with a reason. I didn't care to hear her excuses. I just stared quietly at her face, watching the guilty expressions flicker one after another. Then I said, "Angelica, if you want to leave, I won't stop you. You never needed to." Before I could finish, Angelica cut me off. "What nonsense are you talking about? How could I possibly leave? Where would I go? Stop imagining things out of nothing." My heart felt like water-soaked cotton, heavy and suffocating. This was Angelica. Whenever she was suspected, contradicted, or corrected, she would always reflexively deny everything and then twist the blame back onto me. The air turned stagnant. I broke the silence and asked, "Angelica, you're leaving, aren't you?" Angelica frowned. "What do you mean, I'm leaving? Where would I go?" "Logan, since when did you become so petty? This whole thing was your fault in the first place, and yet you still..." This time, I cut her off. "The things you said with your parents that day, I heard all of it." Angelica's heart skipped a beat. A sudden panic rose within her. "Logan, what are you talking about?" I said calmly, "I heard everything you said with your parents that day." Chapter 7. Angelica panicked. She grabbed my hand. "Logan, what I said that day was just casual talk. Don't believe it. I won't leave you." I shook off her hand and asked, "Not leaving? Weren't you going to volunteer teach?" Hearing this, Angelica reacted like her tail had been stepped on and hurried to explain. It was the school's order that I go. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to be upset. I'm only going for 10 days, maybe half a month. I'll be back soon. Really? Inside, I laughed coldly. Even after everything, she was still lying to me. Logan, don't forget, you're the one who said you'd love me for a lifetime. I'm only going to volunteer for a while, and you can't even wait for me. Don't forget, when everyone else isolated you, I was the only one who stood by your side. All these years of marriage, whenever we fought, she always used the same excuse to shut me up. But like I said, after 8 years, I no longer owed her anything. I understand. Go ahead. I won't stop you. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. Even now, Angelica laughably believed I would wait for her. She still thought she could deceive me, keep me as her backup plan, her safety net. Even for 15 years, she was confident I would remain faithful, waiting for her return. But she was wrong. This time, I would not wait. On the last day before leaving, I had the mole on my neck removed. It left a black scab, which would fall off in a few days. With everything laid bare between us, I spent the last night before departure in a hotel. During that time, Angelica sent me a message. Logan, I'm only going for a while. Wait for me. I made another phone call. I asked, is the news about Jeremy molesting a student true? The other person replied, that's the reason he was transferred here in the first place. If it weren't for someone protecting him, it would have been exposed long ago. All right, thank you. I'll treat you to a meal sometime. After hanging up, I looked again at Angelica's message and replied, I hope you won't regret it. Chapter 8. The next day, I met Angelica at the station. She was on the phone, but when she turned and saw me, she hung up immediately and walked over, her tone carrying a trace of joy. Logan, you came to see me off. I knew you were only speaking out of anger. How could you possibly divorce me? I told her, I'm not here to see you off. Angelica grabbed me, refusing to believe it. If you're not here to see me off, then why are you here? With the crowd moving around us, my luggage at my feet became visible. Angelica's gaze fell on the 2 suitcases behind me. Her brows furrowed. What do you mean? Are you going to volunteer teach with me? I answered vaguely, something like that. But the truth was, she was going to the mountains to teach, while I was being transferred to a village as the vice principal. If at first Angelica had felt guilty toward me, the moment she thought I was going with her to volunteer teach, she lost all restraint. She exploded at me in public. Logan, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm going to volunteer teach, and you have to follow me too. We've been married 8 years, and you still don't trust me. Can't you give me a little freedom, a little trust? I know, I was wrong not to tell you about going to teach, but that was only because I was afraid you'd refuse. Why must you make things so ugly? Her eyes turned red as she accused me, as if I truly were some twisted control freak, as if I were trying to stop her from doing something noble for the good of the country and its people. The people around us began whispering. My train was about to arrive. Since I was leaving anyway, I didn't want to waste more words. In front of everyone, I pulled Jeremy's photo out of her pocket. Isn't he the real reason you're going? Then I produced her abortion certificate. Angelica, I won't say more, but don't treat me like a fool. Our destinations are completely different. Once I arrive, I'll mail you the divorce papers. Oh, and Jeremy's secret, I'll send that to you too. No need to thank me. With that, I lifted my suitcase and, before she could even process my words, left her stunned on the platform, and I boarded the train heading in the exact opposite direction from hers. Chapter 9. When the train slowly pulled away, I saw Angelica get on board as well. The timing was ripe. I organized the document a friend had sent me the night before and forwarded a copy to Angelica. She replied immediately, asking what it was. I didn't answer her, and instead forwarded the document to the Education Bureau. 30 minutes later, Angelica's call came through. I picked up and heard her hysterically demand, Logan, is this some kind of joke? Just because I'm going to teach in the countryside, you falsely accuse Jeremy like this? I've known him for so many years, there's no way he's that kind of person. I really misjudged you. I never imagined you'd fabricate such lies just to keep me by your side. I won't believe you. She slammed the phone down. After 8 years with her, I knew she had begun to doubt. If she really believed me, she wouldn't have made that call. This would be the last call she ever made. I blocked all her contact methods. I closed my eyes for a short nap, but my memory flew far back. Back then, I was preparing to propose to Angelica. To surprise her, I had deliberately not answered her calls that day because I was afraid I might let the secret slip. That day, Angelica, unable to reach me, asked all our friends about me, because I had warned those friends in advance. They all said they hadn't seen me. Angelica panicked. She thought something had happened to me and went to the police to report me missing. When she later learned it was all a misunderstanding, she broke down in my arms, sobbing. I thought something happened to you. Why didn't you answer my calls? She pounded my chest with her hand. My guilty heart melted into a puddle. Holding her face, I promised. From now on, I won't miss any of your calls. I'll make sure you can reach me at any time. I'll never let you be hurt again. Please don't cry. Okay. But 8 years passed. The promise remained, but the love had long ago changed its shape over time. She contacted me less and less. Her replies grew increasingly terse. She could always reach me, but I could no longer find the woman she once was. Chapter 10. After getting off the train, the local officials greeted me warmly and took me to my lodging, although it was the countryside. Thanks to efforts in rural development over the past 2 years, cement roads had already been laid and families weren't living in dire conditions. The problem was that most teachers preferred to work in big cities. Those who were transferred here often left again as soon as their term ended. So the village primary school was increasingly short on teachers. Many times a single teacher had to cover several subjects. The teacher sharing a class with me was a young woman named Jenny. She had just graduated from university. I asked why she was willing to come. She told me, "This is my hometown. Folks sent me away once. Of course I should come back to help send the next generation out." She asked me why I chose to come and when I planned to leave. For a moment I didn't know what to say. She seemed to notice my reluctance and didn't press. After staying here a few days, I was moved by the children's simplicity and the villagers' warmth and actually felt an urge to stay. Every day the kids brought me little gifts. The neighbors greeted me and invited me to their homes for meals. They showed me no rejection from the moment I arrived. They treated me like family. What I hadn't expected was that Angelica would contact me. In the past 2 days she must have learned, firsthand, about Jeremy's reputation at the school where he'd been assigned. She must have realized the documents I sent her were true. Using an unknown number she sent me a long message. She apologized for wrongly blaming me and explained why she had hidden the real reason she insisted on going to teach. She said that originally she thought Jeremy had been suddenly assigned to teach away because he'd offended the school leadership and was being isolated and punished. That belief is what made her pity someone also being ostracized, me. She said that, at the time, she regretted not standing by Jeremy, and my appearance had filled that void for her. Now she finally knew the truth. Jeremy had been sent away because he harassed female teachers. He should have been fired, but because he had connections, he was merely transferred to a remote area. Worse, Jeremy hadn't changed. He behaved like a local tyrant there, and he was married. All of this I already knew. From the moment I found Angelica's train ticket, I had quietly been investigating Jeremy. Chapter 11. My college roommate, who graduated with me, was from here. I asked him to look into Jeremy for me. He said, "There's no need to investigate. Everyone here already knows him. He's always harassing female students and female teachers. Many parents don't dare send their kids to school anymore, and female teachers are reluctant to come. And within a month of arriving here, he got a female colleague pregnant. The child is nearly 10 years old now. So what exactly is love? I married Angelica and spent 8 years with her, and because of one sentence from Jeremy, she was willing to abandon me and go off to the mountains. Jeremy was Angelica's first love. One of them married me. The other ended up having a child with another woman. Love? Maybe that's what it was. But they didn't want to love only one person. I turned off my phone just then. Coincidentally, Jenny came by and said her pomelos were ripe and invited me to pick a few to take home. I agreed. On the way back, I didn't expect to run into Angelica. It didn't really surprise me that she'd appear here, after so long together. With shared accounts and mutual friends, she could find me if she checked or asked. But after only a week away, she looked haggard, her eyes rimmed with red. When she saw me, her eyes instantly filled with tears. She reached for me, then pulled her hand back when she saw my cold expression. "Logan, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I can explain those things. I was deceived too." At this point, she still tried to use "I was deceived" as an excuse. But Zhou Yu and Huang Gai, both willing participants in a staged act. If Jeremy hadn't gotten married, if he didn't have a child, if she hadn't discovered she'd been lied to, would she have come to me? I asked the question. Angelica's eyes avoided mine. She knew the answer, but she still tried to lie. "Logan, I really do love you." Love? What right did she have to speak of love now? "Angelica, from the moment you aborted our child, you stopped loving me. Don't fool yourself anymore. At the root, you and Jeremy are the same kind of people. You can't let go of him, but you don't want to compromise yourself." Angelica panicked and grabbed me. No, it's not like that. I never intended to divorce you. No, you just never thought I would actually agree to a divorce. You were certain I wouldn't leave you. Angelica, it's over between us. If you didn't come here to talk divorce, then please leave. Live separately for 2 years. I can file for divorce after that. Jenny, standing nearby, had heard enough to understand why I was here. She said to Angelica, looking at the pot while eating from the bowl, "That's exactly what kind of woman you are. If this were old times, you'd be dumped in a pig cage." Her words were crude but not without sense. I couldn't help but let out a small laugh. Angelica turned to look at the young woman in her early 20s who stood behind me. then rushed to Jenny and demanded, "Who are you? Why are you with my husband?" Jenny wasn't intimidated. "I'm Logan's colleague." A colleague. Angelica's suspicious gaze flicked between us before settling on the pomelos we were carrying. "Logan, so that's why you suddenly ran so far away. It's for her, isn't it? You want a divorce because of her, right?" I felt irritated. Her baseless accusations and public scene could spark gossip among the villagers, rumors that would spread fast. I stepped between Jenny and Angelica and warned, "Do you think everyone is like you? I came here because I don't want to see you anymore. It has nothing to do with anyone else." Chapter 12. I had never shouted at Angelica like that before. She froze for a moment, her eyes filling with tears as she began to cry. "Logan, this is my fault. However many years you stay here, I'll wait for you, okay? We won't divorce, no matter how many years. I'm willing to wait." As she spoke, she tried to move closer and hug me, but suddenly, a voice behind her shouted. Jeremy stormed over, yanking Angelica by the hair and forcing her away from me. "Angelica, didn't you say you liked me? Why are you trying to leave me now?" It was the first time I'd seen Jeremy. He was fat, with a bulging beer belly, his eyes murky and narrow. The mole on his neck was buried under layers of flesh, with a single black hair growing out of it. He looked nothing like the boy in the photo. It seemed that in 10 years, not only feelings had changed, appearances had too. Angelica flailed her arms, trying to escape Jeremy's grip but weighing only 90 pounds. She was like a sparrow struggling in his hands, no threat at all. All she could do was turn desperate eyes toward me. "Logan, help me, please save me." I looked at the farce before me, indifferent, and said, "Didn't you say you'd never regret it?" That night, after I sent her that message, it was she who had replied with the words, "Never." Chapter 13. I hadn't expected Jeremy to come find me that night. He sat down on a stool that creaked dangerously under his weight. I worried it might collapse at any moment. I couldn't help but wonder. My friend once told me Jeremy's hometown was designated as an impoverished area. How had he managed to live there for 10 years and still grow this bloated? Curiosity aside, I asked him directly what he wanted. Jeremy sat with one leg crossed over the other and went straight to the point. "You're the one who reported me, aren't you?" I didn't deny it. To be honest, I've long hated staying in that place. Nothing there but peasants. Look too long at a woman, and they cry harassment. They've never seen the world. Unlike city girls, slim waists, pale legs, just so much more pleasing to the eye. I frowned, unsure what he meant by saying all this. Did he not understand the seriousness of being reported for harassing women and coercing female teachers into relations? Or did he think my report meant he'd simply get sent back to the city? Clearly, he believed the latter. After years in the mountains, his brain seemed to have rotted. He'd forgotten even the most basic laws. When I stayed silent, he rubbed his belly and sneered, his face twisted. "Since you cost me my job, I'll have to get back at you somehow. Tonight, your wife will be mine." Then he left, as abrupt as he had arrived. That night, I heard Angelica's wretched cries. I also heard Jeremy's perverse strikes. I put in my earplugs and went to sleep without distraction. The next morning, Jeremy swaggered past my door, triumphant. On the bed lay Angelica, lifeless and broken, her vacant eyes turned toward me, tears streaming down as she whispered slowly, "I'm sorry." Chapter 14. Angelica submitted the video of Jeremy assaulting her last night to the Education Bureau. Previously, the Bureau had already received evidence of Jeremy molesting students and female teachers. But since molestation was a broad term with different interpretations, they could only verify step by step. But now, with this video, and considering that Angelica had only been at the volunteer school for 1 week when this happened, the Bureau paid special attention. As they dug deeper, they uncovered that Jeremy's uncle had been shielding him all along. The uncle was dismissed from his position, and Jeremy was taken to court. During the trial, Jeremy's wife appeared with their child, declaring that she had married Jeremy only because he had raped her, forcing them into marriage. Even after the child was born, Jeremy continued to beat both his wife and child, and their medical reports of injury stood as evidence. This time, Jeremy wasn't going to escape. He'd be locked away for at least 3 to 5 years. As for Angelica, once Jeremy was jailed, she left me a letter and a divorce agreement. She wrote that she was preparing to return to the volunteer school. "I've already made one wrong choice. This time, I don't want to make another. Logan, I will change. Wait for me." I sighed and signed my name on the divorce agreement. Then I mailed it to Angelica at the post office. As for waiting for her, that was something for the future, a decision to be made in the future. Chapter 15. 2 years later, I received a call from Angelica. Her voice was cautious, as if afraid I might hang up any second. "Logan, have you been doing well recently?" I answered, "Pretty well. I plan to stay here for good." She went silent for a moment before asking, "Is it because of her?" That girl. I had already let go of what happened back then, so I explained patiently. It's because I love it here. The children here need me. Her voice choked. Logan, I know, you still haven't forgiven me. I shouldn't have left you for a man like that back then. Logan, I regret it. Let's remarry. These 2 years, I haven't been happy at all. I always wanted to reach out to you, but I was afraid. Afraid you'd say you don't love me. Afraid you wouldn't want to see me. It's already been 2 years. Can we start over again? I refused. Angelica, I don't love you anymore, that's the truth. But I also don't resent you anymore. Time cannot erase everything, but it can help people forget, accept, and find peace. On the other end, she broke down in tears, like a pitiful soul abandoned. Logan, turns out, the one who can't live without you is me. Just as she said this, Jenny burst in holding a book. Mr. Logan, your class is next. The children are waiting for you. I nodded. Then I spoke to Angelica. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. I need to teach. In her silence, I ended the call. Jenny handed me a bag of Alpenliebe lollipops. Don't forget the candy you promised the kids last class. I thanked her, then carried my books into the classroom. The students spotted the candy in my hands and stood up, shouting one by one, Mr. Logan, we love you so much. I smiled and told the class monitor to distribute the candy. The children understood gratitude. I had realized my value. So yes, there are things in this world far more worthy than love. Back then, Jenny had asked me a question. Now, I had my answer. With my modest strength, I will help send these children out of the mountains.